Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to tell you a story that might look simple at first, but if you really listen, it can quietly change the way you see your entire life. It's about small efforts. The kind of efforts that don't look impressive on Instagram. The kind nobody claps for. The kind that feels boring, slow, and almost invisible. And yet, these small efforts, done every day, are the reason some people rise quietly while others keep waiting for a miracle that never comes. Let me take you to a small town, the kind where mornings are silent and evenings feel heavy with routine. In this town lived a young man named Ariv. Nothing special about him, at least not in the way movies show heroes. He wasn't the smartest in class, not the strongest, not the richest, and definitely not the most confident. He was just average. The kind of person most people walk past without noticing. Every morning, Ariv woke up before the sun. Not because he was disciplined or motivated, but because his tiny house was noisy once the day began. He shared one room with his parents and two younger siblings. There was no space for dreaming loudly in that house. So he would quietly slip outside, sit on the steps, and just breathe in the cold air. Those few silent minutes were the only time the world felt like it belonged to him. Ariv had a dream, but it wasn't clear or dramatic. He didn't dream of being famous or rich overnight. He just wanted a life where he didn't feel trapped. A life where he could choose instead of being forced. But the problem was, he had no idea how to get there. No mentor. No shortcut. No magic formula. One day, while walking to school, he noticed something small that most people ignored. There was an old man who owned a tiny tea stall near the road. Every single morning, without fail, the old man would carefully clean the same wooden bench, arrange the same cups in the same order, and wipe the counter like he was preparing for a royal guest, even though most days only a few people came by. Ariv once asked him, "Why do you do all this every day? Hardly anyone notices." The old man smiled gently and said, "Maybe no one notices today. But I notice. And that is enough to make me better than I was yesterday." Those words stayed with Ariv longer than he expected. From that day, something small changed inside him. He decided he would also try to be a little better than yesterday. Not dramatically. Not in a way that made people clap. Just a little. So he started with something simple. He began reading just 5 pages of a book every day. Not 50. Not a whole chapter. Just 5 pages. Some days he was tired. Some days he was bored. Some days he didn't feel like it mattered. But he kept doing it. 5 pages a day. At first, nothing changed. His life looked exactly the same. Same school. Same marks. Same house. Same problems. But something inside him was quietly growing. His mind was becoming sharper, calmer, more curious. He started to understand things better. He started asking questions he never asked before. Then he added another small habit. He began writing down one thing he learned every day. Just one sentence. Some days it was about math. Some days about life. Some days it was just, "I learned that I shouldn't give up so easily." Again, nothing magical happened overnight. But slowly, he began to feel different. More aware. More present. Years passed. Ariv was no longer the boy sitting on the steps in the cold morning air. He was now a young man standing at the edge of real life, with real choices and real responsibilities. Many of his friends had already given up on their dreams. Some blamed the system. Some blamed their families. Some blamed luck. Ariv could have done the same. But he didn't. Because deep inside him, a quiet belief had formed. That small efforts, done daily, were more powerful than big promises made once. He continued his small habits. Reading. Writing. Learning. Improving just a little each day. He didn't wait for motivation. He didn't wait for the perfect time. He simply showed up. One day, an opportunity came his way. A small one. Not life-changing, at least not on the surface. A chance to apply for a scholarship that required writing an essay. Many students ignored it, thinking it was too competitive or not worth the effort. Ariv applied. When the results came, his name was on the list. People were surprised. Some said he was lucky. But Ariv knew the truth. That essay was not written in one night. It was written through hundreds of small efforts over years. Every page he read. Every sentence he wrote. Every day he chose not to give up on himself quietly built that moment. With that scholarship, Ariv moved to a new city. A bigger city. A louder city. A place full of people chasing big dreams with loud voices. At first, he felt small again. Surrounded by smarter, faster, more confident people, he questioned himself. But then he remembered the old man at the tea stall. He remembered the 5 pages a day. He remembered that improvement does not need an audience. So he kept going. While others waited for perfect plans, he worked on small actions. While others complained about lack of time, he used 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. While others quit when results were slow, he smiled and continued. Years later, Ariv was standing on a stage, receiving an award for his work. The lights were bright. The applause was loud. And for a moment, he felt something he never imagined, pride. But it wasn't pride in that one moment. It was pride in every small moment that led there. He thought of the mornings on the steps. The 5 pages. The 1 sentence a day. The quiet effort when no one was watching. And that is the secret most people never learn. Big success is not built by one big action. It is built by thousands of tiny ones. People love stories of overnight success. But they rarely talk about the years of small, boring, repetitive work behind it. Because that part isn't exciting. It doesn't sell dreams quickly. But it creates real change. Let me ask you something now. How many times have you waited for motivation before starting something? How many times have you said, "I'll start when I feel ready"? How many times have you planned big changes but never stayed consistent with small ones? You don't need to change your entire life today. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m., run 10 miles, read 100 pages, and meditate for an hour. That's not how real change works. Real change begins when you decide to do one small thing today. And then do it again tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. Maybe it's reading 2 pages. Maybe it's writing 1 paragraph. Maybe it's practicing 1 new word in a language. Maybe it's walking for 10 minutes. Maybe it's just waking up 5 minutes earlier. It sounds too simple, right? And that's exactly why most people ignore it. But let me tell you something powerful. Consistency beats intensity. A little every day will always defeat a lot once in a while. Imagine water dripping on a stone. 1 drop does nothing. But over time, it creates a hole in something that looks unbreakable. Not because the water is strong, but because it is consistent. Your small efforts are those drops. Another story. There was a woman named Mira who wanted to become a writer. She worked a full-time job and had no time, or at least that's what she believed. Every night, she came home tired, scrolling through her phone, telling herself she would write one day. One day, she decided to change something small. She wrote just 100 words a day. That's it. Not a chapter. Not a page. Just 100 words. Some days those 100 words were terrible. Some days they were amazing. But she kept writing them. In 1 year, she had over 36,000 words. That became her first book. Not written in a rush. Not written in inspiration. Written in small, daily effort. This is how dreams are built. Quietly. Slowly. Repeatedly. The problem is, our minds are addicted to quick results. We want transformation now. We want progress that can be seen and praised. But real progress often happens when no one is looking. Let me be honest with you. There will be days when your small efforts feel useless. Days when it feels like nothing is changing. Days when you want to quit because you think, what's the point? Those are the most important days. Because those are the days when most people stop. And if you continue on those days, you automatically move ahead. Success is not about being better than others. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. And you don't need huge changes for that. Just small, honest, daily improvement. Let's talk about something deeper. Small efforts don't just build skills. They build identity. When you read a little every day, you don't just become more knowledgeable. You start seeing yourself as a reader. When you exercise a little every day, you don't just get fitter. You start seeing yourself as someone who takes care of their body. When you write a little every day, you don't just create content. You become a writer. Identity is powerful. Once you see yourself as a certain type of person, your actions begin to follow naturally. And that identity is not built by big promises. It is built by small proofs you give yourself every day. Another thing people don't talk about, small efforts reduce fear. Big goals can be scary. Thinking about changing your entire life can feel overwhelming. But doing one small thing? That feels possible. And when something feels possible, you're more likely to start. And starting is everything. Most people fail not because they are incapable, but because they never begin. Or they begin and stop too soon. Let your small efforts be your way of saying, I believe in myself enough to try today. Not someday. Today. You might be thinking, but my situation is different. My life is harder. My problems are bigger. And you might be right. But that doesn't change the rule. Small efforts still matter. In fact, when life is harder, small efforts become even more powerful because they are proof that you refuse to give up. Even if you're tired. Even if you're confused. Even if you're scared. You still take one step. And then another. And another. Let me leave you with this thought. Imagine yourself 1 year from now. Not because of one big decision. Not because of one dramatic change. But because of 365 small decisions you made in silence. How different would your life look? What if you started today? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Do one small thing that your future self will thank you for. And then do it again tomorrow. Because small efforts, repeated daily, do not just create success. They create a new version of you. A stronger one. A calmer one. A wiser one. A more confident one. And that version of you is unstoppable. So remember this whenever you feel like your efforts are too small to matter. They matter. They are building something bigger than you can see right now. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that everything you became started with something very simple. A small effort. Every day. And that is how big success is born.